Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je weer kijkt. Dankjewel. How does one wrap an icky eyeball? With this. Like this. In today's video I'm showing you various ways of using this die. Let me get it back in. This die. For example, how you can make sure that the designer series paper doesn't end up upside down. And there's also how you can attach this bat so that you don't have to ruin the box if you want to get the treat out. So come and join me today. So in order to make these cute boxes, I'm going to use the Designer Treat Box dies, and well, it's a big die set, and this is for the box, this shape, and you can use all the other elements to decorate the box. These could be labels. You could also use them to cut a window in your box. You've got these numbers, and I'll show you. I've made an example for myself. I usually do this and put them in the back. This is for a closure, I'll talk about that later. Here you see those numbers, and you have both the number and the cutout, and these are just regular numbers. These are a bit more tricky because you would have to save those little parts in between, especially the 4 could be tricky. I think they look better if you have these, what are normally the holes, filled in, but this would be very nice for a box. You could make an advent calendar, for example. These I've cut extra from part of the die, and I've figured out where I want a hole so that when I have a box and I want to close it with a ribbon, I can punch a hole in exactly the same spot where I want it. You've got reindeer antlers, you've got bunny ears, you've got reindeer ears if you like, and the bat. I'm going to use the bat, and this would be a label, I suppose. I haven't tried anything with that yet, so lots of opportunities to use these dies. Now I'm going to show you how you can make 3 different types of boxes. One box which is just one colour, which could be either cardstock or designer series paper. And for this model, you use designer series paper where there is no particular direction to it, you see, like in this one. I'm going to show you a box in 2 colours, how you can do that. And there again, you could use 2 different colours of cardstock, or cardstock and designer series paper, or 2 different pieces of designer series paper, whichever. And here too, I have designer series paper where the direction doesn't really matter. And the box that I'm going to show you today for the bat, there the designer series paper does matter. So here I'm going to show you how you can cut and make sure that your pumpkins, or whatever the pattern is, don't end up upside down. I'll show you later. And this is for the bat. I'll put that over here. I hope I can find it. Right, so I'm going to start with type number 1. And this is the kind of box where the direction of the paper doesn't really matter, and all you need is a 5x5 piece of designer series paper. You see, the die will fit in beautifully. You do it like that. You need a larger piece of paper, so if you have a 6x6 piece of paper, that will be fine as well. I'm going to die cut this, and I'll show you how you can fold and assemble the box. I hope you can see that the score lines are already in the paper as well. So what you do now is fold and burnish all these score lines. If you use cardstock, then I suggest you use a bone folder as well. So what you essentially do is you fold every line inwards except this half round at the top. That you fold up, that it can stick through the slots when you assemble the box. Now if you want to, you can put glue, tear and tape or Tombow on these edges to adhere the box, but it even works like this. Do you see? And the box will stay together. I just don't like these gaping ends, so I prefer to put tear and tape on, and I'll show you how I do that. Tear and tape is too wide, so I cut strips. Here's my tear and tape and my glue scissors, so I just snip off a tiny part, which I then cut in half lengthwise. I'll hold it over the silicone craft sheet. You'll be able to see better what I'm doing. And then you can either stick them on straight away, like I'm doing now. What I sometimes do is I put the pieces of tape temporarily on the silicone craft sheet, and then I can pick them up. It means that you can work more fast. Here I accidentally took away the backing paper while picking it up, so I'll be careful and put it on. It helps if you see, bend your silicone craft sheet a little. Right, then you can remove the backing paper. So you align the edges and press down well. And then when I've finished, I'll just see where my little glue flaps are. You see there where the slotted handles are, and there I push with my bone folder, and then when you put the box together it has this nice finished edge. But if you want to be quick about it, you can do without the tear and tape or glue. I'm going to have designer series paper and cardstock, and depending on which end of the box you want the cardstock to be, if you want it on the slotted handles or if you want it on those handles with the these ones, I mean, with the rounded bit at the end, you'd have to decide. If you decide excuse me, for the slotted bit, then you need a piece of, and I'll blend in the size, and so you would cut it like that. If you want it to be that piece, you can cut it like that. So it depends on what paper you want for what purpose. I'm going to have the slotted pieces in the cardstock, and I'm going to have these rounded pieces with the designer series paper. Now this looks almost like the right size already, so I'm going to cut this a bit shorter, and then this is just a scrap of paper, so it doesn't really matter what I'm doing here. And I'm going to die cut this. I could have used my trimmer for that, would have looked neater, but okay. So I did show you the size that you want. I'm going to die cut that one as well. And you're going to do a bit more cutting. Sometimes these slots stay in the die, just tap them on your desk and they'll fall out. Okay, now I have here these two pieces, and for this piece I'm going to cut away these two side wings, so you have one long piece left, and here too, but I'm going to fold these glue flaps first. It makes cutting easier. So I'll fold these over. You do need the glue flaps to stick the box together, but then what you have left is essentially part of that one, and you cut it off as well. So along the edge, and you can see where the edge is, also because there's this scored line. And then you can fold all the rest, same thing as I did before. Here it is, designer series paper, so the bone folder isn't really necessary. So you look where the score lines are and then you fold gently, and the last one you fold up. Okay, here too, well, I do use my bone folder because this paper is more stiff. And then in a minute I'm going to glue these two pieces together, and then you can decide whether you want the blue part on the outside. I was going to say, excuse me, I was going to say whether you want the designer series paper part outside or the cardstock part outside. I think I'll have the cardstock part outside. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to use my Tombow for this. So in the middle you put some Tombow, not too near the edges, you don't want it to ooze out, and then you adhere them one on top of the other, and thanks to the Tombow you can still move it around a little to make sure that when you fold it up it fits. Give it some time to adhere, and then you assemble the box in the same way as I did the one earlier. And I'll show you the method with the template, why not? So this is adhered, and I'm going to punch a hole there. And in that way you could use a ribbon, or it slid away. Right, so now when I put my box together, and I'm not going to bother with the tear and tape for this box, just to be more quick about it, you can talk about fiddly. Pull both through, and there we go. Yeah, my punch did slide off, you see, it's not centered anymore. That's my mistake, I wasn't careful while punching. But now I could thread a ribbon through and close the box that way. See, that's another option. Okay, so that's what these templates are for. And then finally I'm going to show you the back box with the eyeball that I made, and I just showed you in the beginning. And I've devised a method whereby I can still have the bat on and have the bat visible, and you don't have to destroy the box when you want to open it. Because if you glue the bat to that, you need something to glue the bat onto, you see. It won't stand up on its own. I'll show you the bat. It doesn't have a stand, it just goes over the box like that. So you need to glue it onto something, but if you glue it onto this rounded bit, you won't be able to open the box without destroying it. So I've devised a method whereby you can do that, and I've given my bat a little stand whereby it can go over. If you cut it, your bat, and if you just push it over the box, it will stay on, but as soon as you drop the box or something else touches it, the bat would fly off. So you see, this is my way of getting the bat on without having to really ruin your box when opening it. So I promised you the bat box, and here I have designer series paper where the direction does matter. If you cut it in one go, then one end of your box, your designer series paper, will end up upside down, and I want all my pumpkins to face up. So I'm going to show you the measurement and how to cut this box without the pattern being upside down. And then I'm going to need 4 pieces of designer series paper. Now for the slotted pieces, so that end, I'm calling these the slotted pieces, and these are the flap pieces. See, this where the flaps are for the slotted ends. I'm going to need 2 pieces of designer series paper, which are 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And I think I said that wrong. Yeah, this size is for the flap pieces. Sorry about that. So 2 pieces of 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And for the long pieces, you need 1 1/2 inches. Two pieces by 4 inches. Now then, we're going to do some cutting, and I'll do these slotted pieces first. And the first piece, you do like this, and you want to make sure that you incorporate the bottom of that piece. And this is how it would fold over. So there you put the piece like that, and you put them both under. And here too I'm going to slide my piece to incorporate the bottom part, and then I'm gluing them together. And I'm going to die cut this. I know it's more work than just having the box in one type of paper, but I think it looks nicer. See, I just tap the slotted piece out. So these are the 2 slotted pieces, and then I'm going to use the wider pieces, the same procedure. So you put them on like that, but you do make sure that you incorporate the bottom. So your paper should go. My camera stopped there, so I was saying you put just your designer series paper just past that square in the middle, and then make sure they're straight, and then you attach them and die cut again. And again we're going to do some cutting. You don't want to cut away these glue flaps, but you do want to cut away the bottom part. So I'm cutting along the score lines. Here the cutting is, I suppose, even easier because you don't have to deal with these glue flaps. So if you start by cutting this part, then you can just follow the edge of the die cut, even if you can't see the score line very well. Then again, of course, you have to stick these together. And now I am folding before I do any gluing, because that helps me see where the bottom is. See, these 2 I'm going to stick together. Here too, I'm folding glue flaps and the bottom part, just looking for where the score line is. Because I cut 2 pieces at the same time, the score lines may be a bit less visible, but it will still work. I can fold these ones as well when I'm at it. Okay, and this one. And the top part of the semicircle, and these 2 I'm going to adhere together and then adhere everything on top of each other. I'll do that and speed up, you'll see what I'm doing. I realised suddenly why the tear and tape does stick a bit to my silicone craft sheet. They've been on there for 2 days. I did film the intro and the outro before. That's why I'm wearing something, or you didn't. Well, you would have noticed if I hadn't told you, but in the intro and the outro you will see them wearing something different. That's because I wanted to do the filming, but, well, circumstances sometimes just intervene and I wasn't able to do the filming this week. So this morning I decided I'm going to do the filming, but of course I am dressed differently, and that is why my tear and tape sticks to the silicone craft sheet. If you put it on and remove it fairly quickly, then you don't have any problems. Well, I'm not really having any problems now. Oh dear, I forgot something for my box. Yeah. Oh, in all my explanations. I should have made a hole for the eye, and I didn't. Oh dear. Well, I'll make another one and show you. So this can be an example of a box where you can see really well that the paper see, every little pumpkin faces up, so that's where you need the 4 pieces for. I'll go and do some more cutting, and then I'll show you how I made the window, and I'll show you how I made the bat, because now in this box my eyeball won't be visible, and I've decided to have just one window. Here I have 2, but I'm going to make one window. It's, well, it gives the box more sturdiness, I suppose. So I'm going to do that, and when I've done that I'll show you how I made the window. So I've made the box again in 4 pieces like the one before, and I'm going to show you how you can cut the window. And I want the window to be in the front part of the box, so the wider part, the part that has the flaps, and either end of the box will do. You just take one of those dies, put it on, and then you run it through your die cut machine. You could, if you wanted to, die cut a window in all 4 sides of the box, but I suppose it would make it less sturdy. So here you see I have a window in that one end. I'm going to put this together, and then I'll show you how you can make the bat and the closure, that you don't have to ruin the box to get the treat out. And what I wanted to tell you is that, of course, because now there are 4 pieces of cardstock on the bottom is really sturdy, and the box is just a bit heavier, so it won't fall over. Alright, so then I can put my eyeball in. There we go, chocolate eyeball, grizzly, and then close the box, and it will be nice just like that. But as I said, I'm going to show you how you can make the bat. You just need a piece of cardstock which is large enough to take the bat. I'll blend in the smallest size that you need. I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, and here I can show you what I said earlier, is that the bat will slide over and it will stay on, see, but if it happens to fall over it might just pop off again. So I'll show you how I make the stand. You need a piece of designer series paper, cardstock, cardstock, this is cardstock, and it has to be 7/8 of an inch wide. So I'll just put it down. I'm just using this scrap, and if it's damaged there, no problem at all, because you're going to need the top part. And then with the long side top, you're going to score it at 1/4 of an inch. So that's there, score line, and you're going to cut it at 5/8 of an inch. So that's the 1/2 inch. So I'm moving up to 5/8 of an inch, and then I cut it. You can fold it over. The smaller part you attach to the bat like that, so that it won't be visible. this end, you see? And if it is visible, what you can do is just snip off these two little corners. Then you won't be able to see it anymore. And I'm going to use some tear and tape again. Fold it double and slide in the bat, and then your bat is attached. I'm going to put the rhinestones on before I stick it onto my box. Did I put it on the wrong end? Yes, I did. Did I? No, I didn't, because you want to put it in from the top. That was it. So you push it in from the top, and then you can fold it over. And here again, I'm just trimming that end so it doesn't show. And now I can pull through these two, and there you have an eyeball box. If you move around, the eyeball will move around. And I think it only adds to it that it is wobbling in the box. So here you see some ideas for various boxes. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please feel free to check out all the others on my channel. Thank you very much for watching. Dank u wel voor het kijken en see you next time. Bye bye, tot ziens!